with us too. This morning, I'm going to call on Billy Dodd for our pledge and invocation.
Call on the spot this morning, so bear with me. Dear Father, thank you for your grace and mercy. Thank you for the opportunity that you've given us here to meet so many wonderful people, for the opportunity to serve. We know that service to others brings us closer to you. We ask that you keep our bodies healthy, that we may serve others. We ask that you keep our minds healthy, that we may guide others. We ask that you bless the hands that prepared this food and guide our thoughts, words, and actions in the way of truth, fairness, and benefit to all. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Four-way test of the things we can say and do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Auburn, can I call on you for the Sergeant of Arms report?
Yes, we have 47 members this morning. We have 4 guests with us, and our guest speaker is here today. I'll let the members introduce their guests. Judy Brown has a guest.
Good morning. We have Sherry McKinney from Stearns Financial with us this morning.
Chris Neal has a guest.
We've got Chris Hampton with us today. He's an attorney with Nexen Pruitt in their construction group.
And Christy has a guest this morning.
This is my friend Jessica Kevin. Honda Jet.
Chris and Sherry and Jessica, nice to have you all with us this morning. Let's see, Rick Martin.
Wait a minute. We've had somebody just join us here. A veteran of this club, Mr. Lawrence Mann.
And certainly past president, one of our past presidents, Lawrence, is nice to have you with us. Thank you, appreciate that. Feel free to get some coffee and breakfast. Rick Martin.
Yes.
Now let's try. Birthdays and anniversaries.
Birthdays and anniversaries. We got a couple here this week. Start off with some wedding anniversary. Is Robbie here this morning? Right here, front and center. He had a wedding anniversary. I hope you remember. I hope you remember. Yeah. Sorry we couldn't give you some advance notice. Happy anniversary. I got a couple of birthdays this week. Tom Nelson. Right in front of me again. 12th of April. Happy birthday. And Rick Martin. Rick. Yeah, birthday on April 8th. So happy birthday to me. So,
And belated happy birthday.
yeah, thank you very much. And that's it for this week. Yeah, short list.
And a good list.
Yeah.
Lawrence, this is a great surprise. It is nice to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you know, one thing about Lawrence is I remember for years, Lawrence would arrive probably at 6:15. He probably helped people know Henry turn the lights on early bird and set the standard for us on that. That's great. Let's see. Hey, Chris.
Yes, sir.
Do we have time for a lightning round family?
You know what? I've got a few questions right here. Right here. All right, I haven't picked on the front of the room in a long time. You just couldn't keep your head down. Oh, man. All right. No! Turn the front. It's the Conrad family! All right, if we're going to go with the Simpsons. All right.
I bet you've never heard that one before.
All right, Conrad family, we're going to play or pass.
We're what? Huh? Pass.
You're going to pass?
Pass? Are you serious?
That's
un-American.
All right, Conrad family's going to pass. So we're over to the Simpson family. All right, top 8 answers are on the board. So you guys should be able to at least get a couple of these. Top 8 answers are on the board. Name something. It's Masters Week. So name something that you associate with the game of golf. Something you associate with the game of golf.
Personal.
going with the golf clubs? Ding, 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 ding. All right, we got 7 answers left. No strikes. What do you associate with the game of golf? Gonna go with the golf balls. All right. Golf balls.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding. Number 4 answer. All right, we got 6 answers left on the board. What are we going to associate with the game of golf?
Golf courses.
All right, we got the golf course. Seems a little obvious, doesn't it?
Little.
Basically,
This game usually is.
Maybe a little overly broad.
Overly broad.
Golf course. All right, let's go. What do we got?
Well, I was going to say attire, but that seems kind of broad too. But
You're going to say what?
golf attire, like the clothing,
Golf
clothes, golf shoes. Golf shoes. I'll go with shoes.
All right, you're going with golf shoes. All right, we got 6 answers left on the board. 2 strikes. It all comes down to the birthday boy.
Oh, no.
What do we got?
Can't take the pressure.
Hole in one.
All right, the hole in one. And he's got 1 answer. Ding, 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 ding. All right, that was the number 6 answer on the board. All right, Howard, what do we got? Nice socks, by the way. You guys get a load of these? Look at that. All right.
19th hole.
The 19th hole. All right, little adult beverage after the game.
Of course.
All right, we got a chance to score here. All right, what do we got? All right, we're going to go caddy. All right, caddies. Ding, 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 ding. That was your number 8 answer. All right, so number 7 answer was golf tees. Golf tees. Number 5 answer, you guys didn't get that one. That was the green, the golf green. And I heard a couple people saying, yeah, it was a little bit overly. All right, and the number 2 answer, or number 3 answer was Tiger Woods. I heard both people mentioning that. And the number 2 answer, well, you're not gonna like this one, man. Being bored. All right, guys.
Chris, thank you for
All right, and there was apparently one more order of business. Walt asked me to auction this off. I guess it was a donation to the club. All right, guys. So real quick, there was a donation to the club this morning. You guys are all familiar with the Bryant series, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that's. Is it the 11th? Oh, that's tonight. All right, so we got 1 ticket to tonight's Brian series. It's going to be Diana Nyad. She's a motivational speaker. You might be familiar with her. Amazing swimmer. She swam from, I guess, Cuba to Florida, amongst a bunch of other swimming accomplishments. So this is an awesome donation to the club. It is 1 ticket. Can we get $20 for this? Start for 20? $20, we're going to auction it off. I know Gigi said she was good for $20, so anybody want to bid against Gigi? Oh, well, you got your +1 now. Or +2? Plus something? Somebody's got to be good for $20. All right, Gigi's good for 20. 25. 25. Anybody got 25?
It's for the foundation.
Going to the foundation. Come on, guys. Face value is priceless.
25.
25. All right, got 25 over here. 30. Anybody got 30? Come on now, dig deep. $30. You can give it to somebody. All right, 25 once. Twice. All right, sold to the golf ball. Okay, sir.
Thank you, Tony. And I can't believe the give that to Tom. I can't believe the Masters wasn't on the list. How about that? The Masters didn't make your list.
It wasn't on the list.
I can't believe that. Gail, Stacy, come on down here. We're going to start right before we get into announcements. Oh, we've been waiting a long time for this. What would Gail do without a red badge? It is time to present you. Where is your red badge? Oh, you've got this is an exchange. Okay, now this is how this works. When we bring you up to exchange the red for the white badge, you have to exchange.
I've had it for so long I've got attached to it.
Should we let her keep it? Should we let her keep the red badge? It's nice to, she finally attended the board meeting, which we've been waiting about a year or so for. 2 years? What? Thank you. Thank you. You know, we had a great 505 last night, and I want to thank Chip, and I don't see him here this morning, and that's probably his makeup, but each week we do the 505s at a different location. It's just a fun turnout. People from all the different clubs will show up for that. All right, now let me settle you all down. Where's Matthew? I think Matthew's already headed out of town. So Matthew has a project you've probably heard of at Camp Carefree this weekend. Billy Dodd is spearheading that, and there's the weather's in typical Matthew fashion. The weather's looking like it's going to threaten Saturday with heavy rains or something like that. Part of it's indoors, and we'll plan to do the indoor part at least.
Yeah, I'm going to call Rhonda, who runs the place, and just kind of gauge. There are other people other than our group that are supposed to be attending this as well, so I'm just going to kind of see what the contingency plan is there. And I'll send an email out by today or tomorrow to confirm whether or not it's still a go or we need to move it. Just on a side note, I talked to her yesterday too, and for everybody that attended last year, she said the French drain is working really well. And I know everybody knows we got a ton of rain last year, and so they have had no flooding in that building over there. So I know that we were digging through bushes and that it was a pain, but she remembered that we were there. She was extremely appreciative of it, and she said that it's been working great. So just a side note to that, what we're doing out there is having a big impact. So.
Thank you, Billy. We'll be on the lookout for an email blast later today or tomorrow for that. Let's see. We got something else. Gigi? Who's Gigi?
I'm right here.
Okay, when all the announcement people move, it's like musical chairs. When we move across, back to the coffee pot, that's a hard one for me.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is my final appearance. Encouraging you to go to the district conference. I brought the last flyer, my last flyer to you. It's all summarized on one page, all the activities. And we have a new development. Dan Quinn is organizing the dinner, right?
Not barbecue.
Not barbecue. This is a dinner on Friday night for Gate City members. I think about 11 or 12 people already signed up for that one. And the best part of it is right before the dinner, we have the rock and roll outfit card. And Chip is working on his outfit. I've given him some advice. And I know for a fact that Frank and Claudia, they already have their outfits. So that's for that reason only. You guys need to go there and see what we have in store for you. So I'll see you next Saturday, no, not next weekend, 26, 27, and 28. Greenville, South Carolina. Thank you.
Gigi, thank you for promoting the district conference, and we're going to have a lot of fun. And please, someone email me today with some coaching on rock and roll. Frank, don't leave me hanging. Let's see. I think it's about time for some happy dollars.
I think it's time for happy dollars.
Hang on.
What?
We gotta do a little fundraiser.
Oh, sit down, sit down.
Not nearly as eloquent as Gigi, and not nearly as nice as Maxine, but Kelly's going to help me too. So I just wanted to give y'all an update. We have 20 sponsors so far, so everybody's doing a really good job with that. I have received some raffle tickets, and I have received some cash. Everybody here received 10 of each, which is roughly $300. So we expect everyone to sell that, and I'll be looking for that money to roll in. If anybody needs any brochures or any other information, I have extras. If you want more raffle tickets, I will hand deliver them if you need them. So just let me know. So far, everybody's doing great. So keep up the good work. We've got about 23 days to our fundraiser. So.
And we've covered our costs.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
We're into the point where we're making money. So everybody needs to push a little bit and get us up in. If we get, I think it's $25,000, right, Chris? If we raise $25,000, I think we get to the point where the scholarship should be fundable. Was that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think the fundraiser we need to do about 60 grand on the fundraiser. That will pay for the event, that will fund the foundation, all of our small grants, and that should get the scholarship fully funded to where we can, we can look at awarding that in the next year and a half or so. So 60 grand's kind of the number, and we're at 20 now, so we're a third of the way there. We got to have a hard push.
3 weeks.
Yep.
So I get to be the bulldog because he's been so nice to y'all. So let this year be the year that we don't have to charge anybody for your tickets. That's just a shame that we have to send you a bill because you didn't sell a $10 or $25 ticket to go. An amazing event. I mean, if you have not been over to Revolution Mills and seen the setting with the smokestacks there, Cal Restaurant right beside it, the way that it's lit up, the bridges that come across, the stage that we'll have with this amazing band, the broadcast that's going to play. Cal is going to set up food and drink for folks that are not coming to the VIP party. You'll be able to buy beer right there. It's going to be a great night. We've already ordered the weather. Rob and I collaborated on that and walked up to the front of the chapel. And so we've been blessed with a 75-degree night start, 68 at closing. It's going to be great. So please, you do have to ask your friends to sell those tickets. They don't just sell themselves. So let this be the year that we don't charge anybody for your tickets. And if you do that, we're going to have a really amazing fundraising event. Thank you.
Yes, we will. Thanks, Carrie. Thanks, Carrie. Buster, let's do some happy
I was so excited about the fundraiser. All right. Dave.
Oh, David's got
So, growing up in Virginia, I spent a lot of time with my grandfather. He went to the University of Virginia. I moved to North Carolina, and out-of-state tuition was way too expensive to go. But I've grown up my entire life watching them. So much so that I thought it was a good idea last year to go to the game in Charlotte, where Virginia became the first one to lose to a 16. And so to watch this team go from the valley of defeat to the mountaintop this past week has been an amazing year. So just go Hoos.
I tell you, David, it's pretty sad for as happy as you should be. I mean, maybe like a maybe no. I would think a 20 would be. Oh well, okay.
It's been that fundraiser.
Usually I report on the girls, but my happy dollar today is for all of you and the support of how long this took to get. It really means a lot. The last few years have been tough, but you all have been a big part of helping myself and my family make it through. So this really means a lot. Thank you.
Well, this is following same basketball theme. As you guys know, I know nothing but basketball, but I won the pool. All about luck.
So some of you guys have met my son. He's going to be doing more service projects over the next couple of years, but he's at an early college, and early college you basically do 4 years of high school in 2 years, and then 2 years of college the back 2 years. So his first 2 years in high school, we didn't let him run track, and he's a natural gifted runner. He runs the half mile, 800. So this last week, he did his first track meet since 8th grade. 8th grade, he won Guilford County's track meet, so he came in first for the county. He came in first in his first track meet at the 800. So.
All right. This is for Jeff and David and Bob Haybrock. They put together a video for the conference. Claudia asked for a 2-minute video on pig stock, and they put this thing together. We can't release it to the club until after conference, but they did a phenomenal job. It really is a great video. You guys will enjoy seeing it.
You mean you can't release it to the other clubs until?
No, it's Claudia said we can't let it go anywhere until it's shown at conference.
And Margaret, she's on here.
This is an advertisement. My wife was just recently awarded diplomat status in American Academy of Dental Sleep Medicine. She's one of 3 in the state of North Carolina. So I just wanted to brag on her a little bit.
This is half of Kelly's 5, so. Half of it's Kelly's. Just so you're not hitting up from above. I want to announce, Mike pointed out he saw my second son get his Eagle Scout last week. So that's 2 of the Joneses where we got our Eagle Scouts in the last couple of years. So I'm very proud of them.
What? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. So to...
Yeah, hold on. Hey, that doesn't work. His money is his.
That was really my money. So 2.5 years ago, I was part of a delegation that traveled to Dublin and bid on the World Championship for Irish Dancing. Well, it is here, and you will see them. It starts on Monday. Everything is at the Corey Convention Center. Please come out and support it. It's free to get in if you're a North Carolina resident. Show your ID, walk right in. They start dancing on Monday morning at 8 o'clock. They go all the way through the night every single day. It shortens up as you get closer to the weekend. I think on Thursday and Friday it stops at like 5:30. But come anytime, walk in. There's 3 different stages. It's going to be amazing. And at very least, the one thing that we assured them of was if they came to Greensboro, if they chose Greensboro, that we would embrace them as an organization. So if you see them out at dinner or you see them in town anywhere, just go up and say hello and tell them that you're glad that they're here. 25,000 people is the biggest event Greensboro has ever had for a conference, even bigger than the ACC tournament. So.
Alright, so I want to brag on my wife real quick. Stephanie was she was the cover story in the March Triad Real Producer magazine. It was Autoimmune Month, and it was very moving and poignant story, but it was really well received. We got to go to a reception the other night, and there was a gigantic poster of the cover of the magazine, and she got to sign it and all that stuff, so it was pretty cool. And then I don't know if you guys saw, but I don't see Chip Person here today, but Carrie, his wife, was actually on Spectrum News in heavy rotation for a couple of days there, talking about the the rental market in the area. So she did a real good job too.
Good. Point that out when Chip gets back, won't we?
All right, so I know a lot of you know I've been trying to buy an airplane for the past several months. So as of yesterday, I'm an airplane owner. Just not an airplane possessor. You could have sold them.
You're late.
Well, Grandpappy, he's always one of these guys that sort of had his ducks in a row and had things planned out. And I asked him one time, I said, "Oh, Grandpappy, did you ever have a plan B?" He said, "Of course not. All my plans are numbered."
Thanks, Bud. This morning, very proud to introduce Paul Berry. Paul is a... I'm sorry? They're all leaving. No, they're getting coffee and get set. He's retired from the U.S. Marine Corps 30 years in, and was deployed to Somalia, Kosovo, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Also 3 years as a senior enlisted advisor to all the Marine Corps recruiters in North Carolina. Lives in Raleigh, so he made a trip to get here this morning. He's officially joined the Worry and Family Program team as the North Carolina Service Network Director and Programs Manager in October of 2017. We're going to learn about that program this morning. Please welcome Paul Berry.
If this microphone doesn't work, you're still going to be able to hear me, I promise. Well, thank you for this opportunity this morning. And I was out here anyway. I got to go to Winston-Salem in a few minutes once I wrap up here. But and I'm an early riser. I had it for 30 years in the Marine Corps. But I'm going to talk to you about what's right about America briefly this morning because that's what matters. I'm going to talk briefly, though. I got to kind of shift gears, let me talk about three great Americans. Staff Sergeant Christopher Saltman, 34, from Newark, Delaware. Sergeant Benjamin Hines from York, Pennsylvania, 31 years old. And Corporal Robert Henrys from Locust Valley, New York, 25. Those are 3 reserve United States Marines out of the Massachusetts area, and they were killed 2 days ago in Afghanistan. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what America is about, is taking care of them and their families when they come back. So let me tell you about what I do, because there may be some misunderstandings about what I do. I work for the USO of North Carolina. I do not work for the USO Incorporated out of Arlington, Virginia. We are a chartered USO, which means we raise our money in North Carolina and we spend our money in North Carolina per our charter. We do some national work. I spent last fall either in the Fayetteville, Lumberton area or in Panama City, Florida, supporting the National Guard and other active forces in my traditional USO mission, do you think? But that's not really what I do. We happen to be the coordination center for an organization called NC Serves Central Carolina. So I have a couple hats I wear. I'm a network director for the central part of the state, and I'll leave some of my flyers, some handouts. You can take it, but I don't like to cover you up with slides, but I'm going to talk about what we do and why we must do what we do for our veterans and their families. So this concept came about 5 years ago up in New York City when elected officials, clubs, organizations like this said, how can we have all these great resources for our veterans, but yet there's still veterans who are taking their lives, unemployed, sleeping on the streets, suffering from substance abuse, suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, things like that. And they said, well, all you have to do is go to this location, go to this website, pick up the phone, the resources are there, why are they not doing it? Because it is much more complicated than that. So, if you have this side of the room, that's nonprofits, and this side of the room is veterans or their families, sometimes the two now shall never meet. Why? Because in the work I do, you realize there are barriers to accessing resources. Income barriers, substance abuse, post-traumatic stress, sexual trauma. I could go on and on of why they cannot access the resources. So we came about, and we don't do anything but navigate and connect. That's all we do. So people wonder, well, why are you still around and why are you relevant? How does this work? So this is how this works. If a veteran in the Greensboro area needs resources, I have a young lady named Rebecca. She lives down in Kernersville, and she covers quite a big area out here for me. Just one person. And right now she's at Goodwill in Winston-Salem helping veterans. They contact us, we find them through who? Who makes this network function? It's the community. It's a community-based network. So people, I get the question, I got it this morning. You know, Paul, where is your office? I have a physical office by the airport in Raleigh. I'm almost never in it. It looks like a storage room. There's probably dust all over the desk because I'm in the community at organizations, and what we do is cloud-based with technology these days. So the idea that a veteran needs to go to a brick and mortar location, we wiped that slate, we just wiped that away. But that's not what we need to do. Because when that veteran contacts us, they need somebody to navigate that resource or resources. So think about it. A veteran that's a single parent that's going to a local technical college, working a part-time job or possibly 2 part-time jobs, has 2 kids, has soccer. You got to be at soccer at 5:30, they get off work at 5, and they're in traffic. When do they have time to navigate resources that makes their life better? It's hard to answer that question. Just go to the website, Paul. It's that simple, right? Just call the 1-800 number, right? It's not. It's not that simple. So what we do is we talk to the veteran or the family member, get their story one time. We use a central intake system. It's a cloud-based system. It's very neat. It's simple to use. I'm an old retired Marine. I can use it. Okay? It's simple. I can do it on my phone. I can do it in a parking lot. I can do it anywhere. And our nonprofits use it when they run into veterans and they refer them into the system. It's called We get their story one time. Now think about this. I served 30 years in the United States Marine Corps, moved all over the world. I'm 100% disabled. If I had to tell my story over and over again, I could never get it right. Okay? I was in places like Somalia before most of these veterans were even born now. I can't get that right. But I can get it right one time if someone sits with me over the phone or sits with me with a laptop. And then we connect them to the resources. So what can those resources be? I will leave some brochures. I'm not trying to sell anything. This is a community-based initiative. I'm just providing you the information, and you can support it just by supporting our veterans. So we will navigate them out to as many as, I've seen as many as 7, and that's in the Greensboro area. I'll use a real example from about 18 months ago of a lady, her husband passed away, and he had done all the finances, had all the records, had everything. She had access to nothing, and she was not tech savvy. So when he passed away, she couldn't even access cash. So we started from scratch with her. He was 100% disabled. He was getting money. She didn't know what she rated, what she could do. Now think about that. And she's 87 years old. Who is her advocate? Who? The neighbor? Hope so. The VA? The VA is going to help. But what we are is that person's advocate. We will navigate with them. So think about the person who's been raped. Think about that. The veteran. Who's going to be their advocate? It's us. So that's what we do with America Serves. Now think about this too. And this is where I need your support. In the time that we have been here this morning, it is a statistical fact that somewhere in America a veteran took their life already this morning. We lose 5 a week, some weeks, 5 a week in North Carolina. 5 a week to suicide. And then people start debating the number now. Is it 20? Is it 19? Is it 18? Is it 22 a week? It's one too many, okay? That's what it is with the veteran suicide. It takes a community, okay? I worked programs and things all over the Marine Corps. I was at the highest levels, budgets, oversight committees, traveled, I did all that. And when I retired, I was going to do nothing for a year. I tried to fish every day. My wife would not tolerate that after a while. She's like, you're not going to fish every day, Paul. So I found this job. But actually, I want to go back up and cover one other thing. Let me tell you a story. I'll wrap this up. Okay. I know this young lady up in Massachusetts. I'm going to tie this story back, so excuse me for kind of shifting gears. Okay. In 2013, I was in Afghanistan, and I was the sergeant major. So if you're a veteran, I was the sergeant major, but for a corps level, 2-star general. So that means even, you know, a blind dog can get a bone sometimes. You know, I got very fortunate. And so we were in a really bad place in Afghanistan, southwest Afghanistan, worst place to be, still the worst place to be. That's down near where those 3 Marines were recently killed. It's just a bad place. They do not like us, okay? We don't like them. If we're not there, they build bombs, make more terrorists, they come here, kill us. So trust me, you can debate the politics all day. That's not what I'm here for. But I was there. Anyway, December 23rd, 2013. So, you know, it's the eve of Christmas Eve, and a young sergeant named Daniel from Massachusetts was an infantryman, squad leader it's called. This guy had been in Iraq 3 times, his first time in Afghanistan. And a squad of fellow Marines, so that's 13 guys, were on a patrol. And they really got pinned down in a bad firefight. Overwhelmed, numerically overwhelmed. And you think it's desert, but it's not. There's rivers there in the valley, it's like jungle. Really a bad situation. So Daniel took his team of 12 to go rescue or relieve or bring them back. So, and this goes on for hours. So it's hot, even in the winter like that. There, it's Afghanistan. So this goes on for about 6 hours, and this young American, 25-year-old Daniel, husband, father, repeatedly tries to save these Marines. And it's only getting worse. The Marines that are pinned down are out of water, pretty much out of ammunition. So Daniel has to make a decision. So what he did is he decided he's going to have the enemy focus on him so that his other guys can get these other guys and get them back before it gets dark and really gets nasty. So Daniel purposely exposes himself. Shot through the chest, killed instantly, but everybody else survives to make it home. So the next day is Christmas Eve, and I'll tell you what's great about America. Christmas Eve, 2013. Then the weather had changed. It was cold, it was raining, it was 2 o'clock in the morning when we were sending Daniel home in the C-130 to send him to Germany, to send him back to Massachusetts. 5,000 U.S. service members at 2 o'clock in the morning were at that airplane. 5,000. I want you to think about that. When these people come back, and his young wife, Erin, and their young family, it takes a community. The community must come together to take care of these people who sacrifice so much for so many. So that is what I do every day, all day. I get up at 5 in the morning, I get up at 4 in the morning, I'll get up at 3 in the morning, whatever it takes to get in front of a group like this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a special group. I know this. I've been all over the world, I've been all over the country. But I can tell when I walked in here this morning that this is the real deal. So I can't thank you enough because I can tell that. One, you're sincere. You mean what you say what you mean, and I never felt more welcomed. When this young man in here walked in here, he was treated like royalty. That means you respect the elders in the community. That means everything to me. I come from a small, small town in Ohio, and that meant everything because they were back then World War I and World War II veterans when I was very young. And those people were treated like royalty, as they should. They were the leaders in the community. So ladies and gentlemen, I will leave flyers, I will leave brochures, you can look all that up, you can Google it, but I have to tell the story of that young sergeant, of Erin. And I know it's a big focus on Massachusetts, but it just hit home to me that, you know, it was a week prior to that in Afghanistan, we lost another one from Massachusetts. There is nothing wrong with America. Everything is going fine. The communities are doing great. All you have to do is just ask, how can I help? Where can I help? And how do you thank a vet? Okay, I'll end with this. How do you thank a veteran or their families? I can tell you this, don't thank them by giving them a free sandwich. Okay? You can pat them on the back. The way you can thank a veteran is to take care of them and their families in the community when they return home from combat. Don't treat them like they're broken. Treat them like the young patriots that they are. Welcome them into your community. Welcome into the workforce. Bring them into your school. Whatever you do, you will see that that is the greatest thing that America has to offer. So ladies and gentlemen, I probably talked way too long. I think I'm getting the hook in the back.